Good. My name's Steve Brewer. I'm the outgoing president of the board of Amherst Media, and I'd like to welcome you to our 2017 annual meeting for Amherst Media. Thank you all very much for joining us tonight. As I conclude my term-limited service as president of the board of Amherst Media, I'm pleased to report that the state of our organization is strong. But it has been a very difficult year. We've confronted several great challenges, and I think that we have resolved two of the biggest challenges facing us, and we still have one to go. But first, I wanted to mention that it's been a difficult year for many reasons, but in particular because we lost two of the lights of our firmament. In particular, Isaac Ben Ezra, who you'll hear more about in a little while, who's a former award winner of the Jean Haggerty Community Service Award. But also a former board member, and in fact, Amherst Media might not even be here, but for the service of Isaac, who came in at a difficult time and was a whirlwind of activity and really launched us on the current trajectory that we have. But I should also mention Larry Kelly, who was an important figure in town and a journalist, covered many of the same kinds of things. He appears over and over again in Amherst Media footage, asking the tough questions, whether about the Cherry Hill Golf Course or what. But we're very sad to have lost both of them in the past year. When I joined the board in 2013, we were just beginning to think about negotiating with Comcast, and things were just starting to get set up when we had the untimely and shocking death of John Musante, which turned what would otherwise have been a straightforward process into some kind of a complicated game of telephone. And last year at the annual meeting, I was reporting that we were just wrapping up the negotiations, the town was wrapping up the negotiation with Comcast, and we were looking forward to beginning our negotiations with the town. But we were rather thrown for a loop when the light that we saw at the end of the tunnel was a train rushing toward us, and the town announced that they were compelled to issue an RFP and to treat us as something that would simply offer services and compete for the lowest bid to provide services to the town. We were very pleased when, through the work of Stan Rosenberg, the IG issued a letter that clarified that, in fact, the town did not need to issue an RFP for our services, and they could continue to treat it with us more or less the way they have for the past 40 years. And so yesterday, I finally signed the contract with the town of Amherst, and so we have a contract for the next 10 years, and things are full speed ahead. But now, after several fits and starts, we're finally moving forward on our next and hopefully our final great challenge before us, which is to find a permanent home for Amherst Media. As you know, Eversource has been wanting us to move out of this building for several years, and we've been delaying them and putting them off. When we went back and looked at spaces in Amherst, there simply aren't spaces in Amherst, and so we are now executing on building on the property that we have at Gray Street and Main Street. There's a flyer that hopefully you've seen. You might have picked up a copy, or please pick up a copy. We need to raise some money, but we're very close to being able to actually start breaking ground and building on that, and we hope you'll participate with us in that great work that's coming up this year. So I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the entire board of Amherst Media. The board has done an incredible job this year dealing with all these challenges and moving the organization forward. If I've played a role, it's mainly to try and streamline processes and make sure that we're attending to our bylaws and principles. And so I really recognize the board, which has done great work this year. And of course, all of this happens because we have a director and a fantastic staff who actually do the day-to-day work, making sure that we have live material on the channels, that the meetings all get covered. We have interns that come in and have a great experience. And so finally, I'd like to thank you all for letting me serve as your president for the past 3 years. It's been a great experience for me, and I look forward to what will happen next with Amherst Media. Thank you. And so now we'd like to play our video year in review, and let's see what we've got.
Amherst Media, like all successful community media centers, are indebted to the numerous members and interns who continue to perfect their craft, thereby bringing meaningful shows onto our channels and into our community. This past summer, Jasper Basilier made a video highlighting the experiences and reflections of his fellow interns. This video is currently being utilized at the area colleges to recruit our future interns. Over the years, we have hosted many talk shows, but Conversations, hosted by Isaac Ben Ezra, had its longevity only matched by Isaac's tenacity. The community recently paid their respects to Isaac and shared their many fond memories and stories.
The rest is history because we became so close.
Keeping in the spirit of Isaac's desire to introduce people and ideas to the Amherst community, Marcy Sklove continues to deliver with her series, Going Deeper. Her guests are willing to take the dialogue to another level. Joseph Ronca's series, Creating a Human Rights Culture, incorporates interviews, PSAs, videos, bringing awareness of the interdependency of human rights principles, such as human dignity, non-discrimination, civil, political, and economic rights. These principles continuously need to be brought into the public discourse. Helping with those principles is the talk show Difficult Dialogues, hosted by Almakar and Demetria Shabazz. Drawing on expert voices from the 5 colleges and beyond, the show explores issues of race, immigration, challenges in the Middle East, as well as gender identity. In the premiere of Karuna in the World, Rosetta Sabassoni, director of the Karuna Center for Peace Building's Rwanda program, talked about the challenges and rewards of working on a reconciliation program in a country that has suffered the horrors of genocide. Our newest talk show, Hourglass Trails, is hosted by Tulip Chowdhury, who wants to honor each life as unique in its own way, humble or great. Her guests are from all walks of life. Amherst Media's long-standing relationship with the area colleges continues with the addition of Science Cafe. Set in casual settings, these shows are open to everyone. This grassroots movement matches scientists with everyday people, featuring engaging conversations.
It's time!
It's time?
It's time!
For what?
A special shout goes out to the Curious Giraffe Show, winner of the 2017 Best Children and Youth Programming by the Northeast region of the Alliance for Community Media. The show is hosted by Dorothy Creswell, retired elementary school teacher and music educator. The show aims to get young children thinking about important issues in today's society, incorporating music into their learning. We are pleased that Superintendent Michael Morris has reactivated and renamed the public schools programs A Window into Amherst Regional Public Schools. The superintendent has been interviewing new administrators to the system, as well as introducing teachers in the programs, as well as involved parents to the community at large. Local painter and observer of all things local and national, Bruce Smith continues to apply his lessons learned from the School of Hard Knocks, as well as the regional public schools and Bucknell University. He more than occasionally slips in a little music to accent his theories and observations. But talk shows aren't the only programming we create within our studio walls. We had the pleasure of meeting Galen Passin, a recent graduate of Goddard College who has studied the sitar for many years in India. There was the poetry of Al Miller, covering such topics as war, brothers, mothers, and the act of creating, while being accompanied by cellist Mark Fraser, performing his own work and that of Bach. That melody was quickened and rocked by area bands performing live at the Grid. Douglas Challenger hosted a panel discussion about his documentary, From Hurricane to Climate Change. The film documents how Monadnock region of New Hampshire is addressing the challenges of an increasingly unstable climate. Integrating the voices of experts and ordinary citizens, the film offers a model for how communities across New England and beyond might respond to this unprecedented environmental challenge. Puerto Rican poet and performer Magdalena Gomez presented a 2-hour live stream performance reading from Puerto Rican literature with unscripted, intimate, personal commentary as a fundraiser for long-term Puerto Rican relief efforts post-Hurricane Maria. Donations were solicited for the Boston Foundation's Massachusetts United for Puerto Rico. The event's recording has been offered to access centers across the state for local showing and hopefully additional donations. And of course, we partner with our friends at the Rotary Club of Amherst yearly for the live auction. We were the proud recipients of last year's financial gift from the Rotary, which helped to launch our capital campaign for our new facility. Earlier this spring, Amherst Media staff provided video coverage for the Puerto Rican Financial Crisis Conference, hosted by the Center for Latin American, Caribbean, and Latino Studies at UMass. This important conference had panelists from around the country, as well as a keynote address by Juan Gonzalez, co-host of Democracy Now! Our film crews made trips to Mount Holyoke College to record Juan's co-host of Democracy Now!, Amy Goodman. We were also at the college to capture Senator Elizabeth Warren's rousing presentation to a capacity crowd. For the past several years, we have been the media sponsors for the Nerd Summit, a conference held in Western Mass dedicated to supporting and training those in or interested in web development and IT, as well as increasing diversity and inclusion to these areas. The videos we have produced for the Chamber of Commerce over many years for their annual awards, and last year's video for Five College Inc.'s 40th celebration, has inspired other local organizations to ask for our expertise in creating videos and highlighting their accomplishments. A short, retrospective film on the great work done by the Amherst Survival Center throughout its past 40 years was produced in time for one of their fundraising events. Another local program, Amherst A Better Chance, commonly referred to as the ABC program, has approached us to produce a video for their upcoming 50th anniversary in 2018. A much larger project was brought into us by Elsie Fetterman, an avid local supporter of independent media. Elsie wrote and obtained a grant from the Daughters of American Revolution for Amherst Media to create a video of the Temple Beth Israel of Danielson, Connecticut. The video will highlight how Holocaust survivors, with the help of local non-Jewish community, built their temple and immersed themselves as immigrants into the social and economic fabric of their new community. Additionally, we are creating an archival center for the research and study of the founding families and their descendants. Spring of 2018 is the projected finalization of this important and timely video. It is with much admiration and congratulation that we recognize two interns, Charlie Turner and N.J. Park, who set forth to capture a difficult subject matter, a hard look inside the reality of homelessness. Their finished video project, All Too Human, was well received and widely watched. It is a tribute to themselves and those staff members who mentored them during the difficult process of shooting, editing, and discussing their portrayals of individuals, and their ability to understand and hold to their intentions. They wanted to create dialogue about issues we must confront together if we are to meet the standards of a fair and just society. It has always been and will continue to be the mission of Amherst Media and independent media to provide voice for the voiceless and opportunities for all to be heard in their own voices. It is truly amazing to look at the meaningful content that is produced by our members, interns, and staff. We should all be very proud to be associated with an organization with not only longevity of 41 years of service, but a service dedicated to the community of ideals and inclusion.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all coming out tonight. I'm Jim Lesko, the Executive Director of Amherst Media, and though that might have been a little long, I just think it's important sometimes to show people the variety of shows that we have, because it's not always caught. And a lot of people in Amherst watch Channel 17 for government, and that's great, but there's so much more in this community, and we try to be there. It's often difficult to us to actually get there and do everything. Matter of fact, tonight is a big workshop on housing and affordable housing in Amherst we were asked to cover, and we obviously couldn't do it. But I want to give thanks to the interns and staff who not only shot and edited what you just saw, but the special thanks go out to the Brendan and Megan and Teal. I don't think I see Teal here tonight, who did a lot of the editing, and with Nick and Jody, and I know that Joe also jumped in at the end to try to bring this together for tonight. So I want to thank them personally. Some producers are actually in the house tonight. We have Tulip over here. If you could just raise your hand. Where are you, Tulip? There you are back there. Hopefully you'll check in on her show. Marcy Slove, you're here somewhere. I saw you come in. Marcy, where are you? Way in the back. Hello. You can shout. It's okay. George, you're here somewhere, right there with History Bites. Demetria and Almakar, obviously, you just saw, and they're here. So thank you all as producers. That's just a few of our producers that are here tonight. And Joe Ronca's here. I'm sorry, Joe, you're here. I apologize. I'd like to introduce our staff real quickly to you right now. Over here in the corner is Nick Ring, who is really the director of technology, is really kind of a shorting of many things that he does. Extremely busy this past year, and thank you, Nick, for all the work you did for getting the equipment list over and over again for Comcast, then doing it again over and over again for the town, and trying to upgrade our equipment to stay current. So Nick does a lot of the technological things that if it's not working, you're not going to get to see us. So thank you, Nick. He's also official roller skating official, so if you want to join, talk to Nick. Joe Amor in the back. Joe is our director of programming, archiving, and studio productions. Joe is currently also the director of Elsie Fetterman's project of the Temple Beth Israel, which we're really excited about, and we are reaching 25 interviews already done to date with Elsie's help of organizing. Thank you, Elsie, for including us on that. Jody Jenkins, back by Joe in the back, is the director of our interns in our exterior productions. Jody's only been here a little more than a year, but his job includes all those government shoots and making sure people are there to cover them and jumping in when they're not able to make it, and he does it. And he picked the year to come in when we did 238 government shows, which is up from 204 the previous year. So there's a real pull, hip, and push here, meaning more government coverage, and it affects what we can do in the public on the Channel 12. So we're trying to balance that more, and we need your help. We need more people involved to be able to do that. I did jump over something here. First, the staff person that really doesn't get mentioned is a part-time person, but someone that's been with us for a very long time, Julie Shively. Julie's in the back row there, our accountant. And she's more than an accountant. She's really as close to an assistant director that I could have. I really rely on Julie's expertise, her sage advice when it comes to insurance, when it comes to all those things that I don't want to be responsible for, of meeting deadlines for the state. No offense, Ellen, but there's so much paperwork that the state demands, and Julie guarantees that this organization stays on the books as a nonprofit. So thank you, Julie, very, very much. Jody, could you take a minute? Could we bring the house lights up a minute? There's a lot of interns here tonight. We asked them to come out if they could because you seldom get to see them. Jody, want to mention their pick? Where's Jody? He just walked out of the room when I mentioned his name. Jody? All right, Joe, will you introduce some of our interns? Jody, do you know the colleges? Yell out your college when they say your name. That might be easier.
From UMass, I think we have 17. Altogether, we have 25 interns.
So thank you, Jody, and thank you for the work you do with the interns and for all the staff that actually oversees the archiving, the front desk, the various aspects. What you just saw couldn't be done with us if we were by ourselves. It just can't be done. And when I got here originally 10 years ago, there was 3 interns, and why aren't we using more interns? They said, what would we do with them? I'm like, And I know at times it's crazy for the staff to oversee that many people, but this is every year they get better. The interns come in more aware, more geared up. And this summer we had even a Smith College student coming over and working all year. It's just a great experience for them. It's definitely a great experience for us. So I thank you all that are here and those that are not here. A few years, yeah. And we actually have a former intern that's a director of an access center in Massachusetts now. So we are considered one of the training grounds for the access centers, not only Massachusetts, but New England. A few years ago, Stephen Brewer, who just spoke, and thank you, Stephen, for your leadership as president the last 3 years, suggested we should start a makerspace and a program here at Amherst Media. With help from UMass colleagues Charlie Schweik and Paulus Reeves, we launched a very successful after-school program and special events. But honestly, we couldn't have done this by ourselves. A woman by the name of Christine Olson, who's here, PhD candidate in communications at UMass, she gave her dedication, steadfast commitment to working with children and adults of all ages and skill levels. All right, and this is putting small computers together, circuitry. I just walk through and say hi, and I just keep going because the young people are so far ahead of me, and I think many of us in the room, to be honest. And Christine, if you could come up real quickly, please. Tonight, I'd like to give you, Christine, just a small token of thanks for your commitment and service. I know you thought I was going to ask you to speak, but they're pushing me here. This past year, we have seen town residents come out to defend not only Amherst Media, but independent media everywhere. And it's truly, the words were constantly, it's vital, it's necessary, it's a component for a democratic society. And I think what you just witnessed and what you're seeing is, I think, gives credit to that, what our work is. The individuals who stepped up to be on the Cable Advisory Committee, Demetria and Adrian Teresi, who's not here tonight, was also a board member, were joined by Joan Golowich, Alan Sachs, and Sharon Vardatara. Thank you. And they spent so many hours, we owe them a lot of thanks, if not money, a lot of thanks. What they put up with Comcast, and it's not pretty. But the numerous residents that also came out, and some of you are here tonight, and testified at the ascertainment hearings and let people know what you wanted was so important. And I wanted to thank you publicly for that. When it appeared that the state regulations would require us to bid for our own contract with the town in a request for proposal, people came out in defense of Amherst Media, and also the need, with the argument that the need to remain an independent media center. With assistance from Senator Rosenberg's office and his general counsel, David Sullivan, specifically. Is David in the house? They approached the general inspector, and who rethought and reworded the directive. And Stephen mentioned this, but making the need for RFP to be removed from the table completely, not just in Amherst, but statewide. This allowed all nonprofit access centers to continue in doing those services. It was a major victory. And for those that helped start that in Amherst, again, many people across the state have thanked me. And I said, well, it's not me to thank. You should thank Rosenberg and the people of Amherst who actually got this thing rolling. So thank you. Throughout this prolonged period, the board of directors stayed on point, and with the able assistance of attorney Jonathan Kane. Did Jonathan make it? He was trying to come over tonight. We just did finalize our new 10-year contract with the town of Amherst. And though Stephen said it, I just want to hold it up. And it took 9 months of negotiating with the town, right? Ed was there, and 2 signatures. So you're all witnesses. They're actually signed. We have a 10-year contract. So thank you. And in conclusion, I just want to say it marks 10 years that I've been executive director of Amherst Media. My hope is that with renewed and revigorated public support, we have seen in these past few months that Amherst Media will be in 8 years celebrating its 50th anniversary. I hope we all can come together again and celebrate at that time. Thank you. And Elsie will be here, definitely. Elsie will be here.
Hello. I'm honored to kind of give you the background to the Jean Haggerty Award. This year marks the 8th anniversary of the establishment of the Jean Haggerty Award in honor of the former housing commissioner. She was a housing commissioner here in Amherst, Amherst community television producer when we were ACTV and not Amherst Media, board member, community activist, and Amherst Media established this award for deserving individuals and organizations that have demonstrated a dedication to community engagement and social change. The award commemorates Ms. Haggerty's lifetime devotion to community, social justice, and civic engagement, and honors her dedication and concern for those who have been denied an opportunity to be heard. Previous awardees are Isaac Ben Ezra, Cynthia Brubaker, Ed Severance, the founders of Student News, Judy Brooks, Jerry Gates, and Ellen Story. So that's the background to our Jean Haggerty Award. So do they do the video, or should I just go? Oh, I'm sorry. See, I thought there was a video and then a video. Okay. I've also been asked, and really honored to do so, to give you a few words about Isaac Ben Ezra. I have spoken with Amy and Farnes, his son-in-law, and they could not be here tonight. Amy Ben Ezra, of course, his daughter, but they do send their words and are honored that we're doing this tonight. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. This is a quote by Martin Luther King, that if you read Isaac Ben Ezra's obituary, you saw that Isaac had met King and brought the iconic wreath from his home in Pennsylvania as a show of unity, love, and peace. I was fortunate to meet Isaac through Amherst Media, where he was a long-term board member. What I found in Isaac was a person with a radical sense of love and justice, and what I mean by that was that he was courageous and unafraid and called on others to do the same. This call for justice and love was something he shared with not only his family and his friends, but with younger generations. For many, his views at times were not always appreciated, nor the manner of his delivery ideal, and thought at moments to be strident in some circles. But it was born out of caring and a commitment to service in wanting to make everyone accountable and be better to and for one another. Many folks in their 80s or 90s are content and happy to retire to their homes and small circle of friends, and who can blame them? They have seen a lot, done a lot, and perhaps have outlived most of their close family members and friends. However, as a child of the Great Depression, Isaac understood that he had to pass on his knowledge as an act of service and an act of love. And so he did. After retirement as a social worker, he served on town meeting, Senior Action Council for Massachusetts, locally as the president of the Amherst Senior Center Council, and served as Amherst Media Board President and Select Board Representative on Amherst Media's Board of Directors. He was not content to be at home, enjoying his years as a community elder who had already done so much and generously gave of his time. Even when he finally had to slow down a bit, confined to a wheelchair, he continued to serve, seeing his work at Amherst Media as not only essential to his vibrancy in his later years, but also to helping build a legacy with Amherst Media, as being recognized, as he put it, as an essential part of the conversation in our town. Isaac remained connected to the community he loved through his long-running show, Conversations, for 16 years. He stayed informed and informed others, keeping folks connected through his popular series, interviewing some of the state and local lawmakers such as State Representative Ellen Story, Senator Stan Rosenberg, District Attorney Dave Sullivan, activist thinkers, and just regular folks in the community. Most of all, he was not afraid to ask difficult questions that tugged at your emotions while exploring questions of racial equality, class disparity, or homelessness. Isaac lived as someone that was unafraid to commit radical acts of love for this town and for other human beings. His bio attests to that, such as his work in Pennsylvania, integrating neighborhoods, creating affordable housing. His small acts of service also attest his kindness, tenacity, and sense of justice, whether advocating for funding for the firefighters or sitting Saturdays, microphone in hand at the farmers market, a place he regarded as his temple, chatting with folks about current topics and issues, or when he and his daughter Amy showed up on a brisk and blustery day in June with the pride flag at Race Amity Day in 2016. Or when advocating for funding for Amherst Media. Always advocating for Amherst Media. Isaac helped to organize the community, attending nighttime select board meetings even as his health was a constant concern when the town wanted to create the request for proposals. This was, of course, nothing new for Isaac. He had demanded 10 years earlier that the town not subsume the local access station and successfully advocated that Amherst Media remain independent and a voice for and of the people. All in all, he was a person of courage, compassion, and creativity. We will miss him, miss his passion and his challenges issued to us all to be better, be compassionate, to ask the difficult questions, have a conversation, and connect with one another. Now, here is a video in tribute to our friend Isaac Ben Ezra.
Good evening. I'm Isaac Ben Ezra, host and co-producer of Conversations. I'm with Richard Murphy at today's The Final Market here in Amherst.
The first time I ever saw Isaac was on the floor of town meeting, and he was in the back and he stood up to say something, and I turned around to see him. Who is that man? Who is that new man I haven't seen before? And very quickly Isaac became just a mainstay, a person I'd always run into in the farmer's market or in town meeting, and has always been such a wonderful presence in town. He has brought so much to our town.
I think that Isaac is really passionate about people being informed and also about people expressing themselves. And I think that that really is what inspired his work with Amherst Media and made him such a tremendous appointee as the town's representative to the Amherst Media Board. Here he was at Amherst Media, both informing people and giving them the opportunity to express themselves. And I think all of that really just speaks to what a tremendous ambassador he was for Amherst Media and what a great advocate he is for community broadcasting.
I admired his work doing Conversations, where he brought people in and talked to them and had them talk to the people who live here about the things that they really cared about and wanted to convey that to the community.
I worked with Isaac on Conversations after September 11th, 2001, the tragedy. Isaac was right on it, going out to talk to community leaders, priests, rabbis, professors, I believe, and going to all the vigils. He went to UMass. That was my first project that I was assigned as an editing intern here at ACTV.
He's also the one who got me on the board here at Amherst Media, then known as ACTV, which introduced me to a whole group of other people who I wouldn't offhand have met. That is, my involvement with the progressive side of town meeting made me in contact with a lot of those people, but Amherst Media's board is made up of much more diverse people. Paulette, for example, being the head of the Republican Party when we were on the board together. And actually, that was another major good aspect of knowing Isaac. Because of that, I got to know Paulette, who also became a person who I truly admired.
he was an activist all through his life and really got a lot done. He really did have tangible, concrete things that came from his activism, but he often did them with such grace and humor and sophistication in a certain way, not an angry, badgering kind of approach, but a real kind of almost psychologically challenging the people that he was trying to persuade. And it was really very clever and very brilliant and also very moving.
He cares about people and he goes out of his way for them. And although he has a serious ideas, that does not preclude his sense of comedy, his sense of humor.
Jasmine, why do you come to the market? Thank you. Oh, definitely.
Isaac Ben Ezra, hats off to you. Thank you for all you've done for Amherst and for Amherst Community Television, Amherst Media over the years.
We just love him.
I want to thank you, Isaac, very, very deeply for your big, loving, cause-oriented heart. We love you, Isaac.
See, so Dee briefly mentioned the people that have won the Jean Haggerty Community Service Award. Can we have the people that have won it that are here please rise? I know Ed is here, and Ellen Story is here, and I think that's all that we have. So I'm very pleased to have the Rotary Club of Amherst here to receive this year's Jean Haggerty Community Service Award. The Rotary's been involved in Amherst for many, many years, and we can see evidence of their good works throughout the entire community. And we've appreciated hosting the Rotary auction here for many years at Amherst Media, and we were extremely gratified last year when certainly due to the instigation of Ed Severance, who served on our board for a long time. The Rotary chose to make Amherst Media the recipient of the proceeds of the community auction to kickstart our capital campaign to help us move forward on our new building. And with that, and hopefully a short fundraising campaign, now that we finally have our contract negotiated, we'll be able to break ground on the new building very soon. And so with no further ado, are we ready to confer the award? So Rob Stern, are you here to accept on behalf of the Rotary?
I am.
And so the gold comes off the plate, but please accept the Jean Haggerty Community Service Award for 2017.
I do have a few comments. I don't need the piece of paper to say how humbling it is, certainly to be in the company that we're in for the people who got the award before us. So thank you very, very much. I've been a member of the Rotary Club since 1991 and a long-term resident of Amherst with our family. And we really have done a lot, that is the Rotary Club, to help our local community. So again, thank you very, very much. The Rotary Club here in Amherst is about 90 years old, and we're one of about 30,000 clubs globally. And our mission really is to make a difference. And we're not really a check writing club, although we need people who write checks, of course. But we really roll up our sleeves to support the organizations that we care deeply about. Rotary International, we partner with them with regard to bringing clean water. That's been an initiative over the last several years. And also the eradication of polio. And we've partnered with Gates Foundation. Yesterday was World Polio Day, and any contribution that we made as a club, the Gates Foundation tripled it. So they've been very active in helping as well. We've donated to the Amherst Survival Center when they built their new building, and to their kitchen specifically, which is really the core of what they do. We donated to the Hitchcock Center for their new net zero building. We give scholarships to high school grads, not just in Amherst, but in surrounding towns, and also Smith Vocational School as well. And we give 6 to 8 scholarships every single year. We donate to the Survival Center, Family Outreach, our backpack project, and really dozens of local nonprofits who need help. We work hard and happily to raise money. Our different fundraising activities are the town fair. Even after all this time, people still don't know that the Amherst Rotary Club actually puts the town fair on and has for many years. The Kovac bike ride, and of course the auction, and Amherst Media is an integral part of the auction. We could not do that, and we couldn't raise the money and be as successful as we've been without your all help, so thank you. Again, thank you so much for the award, and the one thing I can say is that I promise we will continue to make a difference, so thank you.
So we have another couple things that we want to do before we wrap up the evening. So this is kind of an important moment. I said I've been here 10 years. I think, help me here, I think 7 of them has been looking for a new home for this organization. And that wasn't in the job description that I applied for. So I want to thank all the former board members that are no longer even in the room or in with us, like Isaac, who put their heads together, and we tried, and we did a number of things, and we really, really tried. And though I want to credit the people that had the foresight to put us in this building. 26 years ago, the decision to put us in this building. And what you see is this is as good as a PBS station. A lot of the smaller ones around the country. This has been servicing Amherst since 1991. So, I mean, I want to really credit the people that had the foresight. And I'm digging in the archives now to pull up the people that were involved in that. I know a few names, but I don't want to start throwing them out without knowing everybody's names. So, as you know, Eversource, when it became Eversource, decided that they wanted us out, and our lease was not reinstated. And that kind of was a problem. And I have to acknowledge that former Representative Ellen Story was right there for us a number of times, helping us convince the corporation that perhaps a little bit more time would allow this small nonprofit to move a TV station. Not like picking up your suitcase and moving into a new apartment. And Ellen, publicly, thank you so much. I know that you met here, we met there, but I don't know what you did, but we wore them down, or we did what, but we have until December of next year, of 2018, to move. So we're going into the part now where we're going to show you the new facility that we're planning. We're very excited that we've hired a construction firm we feel very good with, who's in the house right now. But before we do that, I just want to say that there's been, a heck of a lot of up and down on this. And I thank all the board members, present and former, that has gone through that journey with me. and my wife, who would be here tonight, except she has an event down at the Bing Arts Center in Springfield, and an open mic for young people. She deserves an award for putting up with me for this many, more than 10 years, if you will, but for these 10 years. This new facility is going to be over on Main Street, Gray Street, right on that corner. We're very excited because of what it's going to offer. It's going to be able to modernize what we do here in a way that can really serve the community that much better. And by that I mean our location is close to the middle school, to the high school. It's on a bus route. We're not on a bus route here. All those things, the visibility of daily traffic going by that building. I believe that that will ensure that 50th anniversary actually happening. So I'm very, very excited that we decided not to sell the land, that we went back out there, and with the help of the Rotary, with the help of those that have donated to match that money, that we're now moving forward in a way that we're very confident about. And we're going to still need help, as you're going to know, but I'd like to pull up the first drawing, if I will, please, Nick. We're partnering with Barnyards out of Ellington, Connecticut, that also has a commercial name, and I'll be introducing Bill Nato's in the house tonight with us. I happened to drop by on him one day many, many months ago, and I said, well, do you guys build TV studios? He goes, not yet, but we'll talk. And they've been amazingly easy for us to work with and very professional, and we're very, very excited about working with them as we move along. I know that we're going to need a lot of support. It's going to, we're in a historic district. One of the reasons we went with a barn-like structure is we feel that's very historic in Amherst, if you will, and that I like the idea of a technology barn. There's something about that play in that I really like, and I really hope that you will also enjoy what we're proposing. Bill, would you like to say a few words about your role? Bill Nato from Barnyard. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me here this evening. I just want to make a comment about the video and the production. That was so impressive as to what all the interns and the producers are doing. But my question is where's the roller derby going to go into this building? Maybe upstairs or something. But
down Gray Street, over Main.
yeah. So we're pleased. We're very excited about this project. We do a lot of commercial structures. Some of you may be familiar with Great Horse or Hamden Country Club or the Hamden Veterinary Clinic, Danbury Elks Club, Sonny's Place in Somers, Connecticut. That's all work that we have done. What is important is what Amherst Media needed was somebody not only to design the building, but to have the engineers on staff that are going to help support this, to push this through, to get it all done with the town. And that's what Jim and I had discussed on a couple occasions. Then we had a couple meetings, and we're getting things going here. So we're very excited about the project. Can't wait to get started. Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
So before I have Ed come up with the treasurer's report, which kind of segues nicely into a new building, I do want to say that we're very excited, and I believe you're going to be mentioning November 4th on the end, so I am not going to say that. So Ed, would you like to give your rousing... I'm sorry, where... Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
What about the park? I live on
Sure.
one block off Gray.
Yeah, we'll be putting parking behind. I think there's another slide from the back side. The back. So as you come up Gray, it'll be a left into our parking lot that will be right behind the building. Is that... So next to the first house on the left, when you come from Main up Gray Street, the parking will be going behind the building there. I believe we were told initially 13 sites that might be needed. So we have plenty of space. We feel comfortable with that. And we've also talked to the VFW about additional parking when an event occurs. We'd be able to use them. So we're looking at that very closely. Hopefully that's good. Ed?
This is the part where y'all nod off. Talking to me about fast. Anyway, I'm Ed Severance. I'm the treasurer here. I've been the treasurer here for the last 3 years. 2 years before that, I was treasurer for 4 years. It's been a challenging year this year because we've needed a lot of money. A lot of things have happened. And I'd also like to begin thanking our longstanding bookkeeper here at Amherst Media, Julie Shively. She really is not just a bookkeeper, not just an accountant. She's a historian. She's been here longer than any of us, and she reminds us of the mistakes we're going to make that were made before us. So thank you very much, Julie. You're great. I'm happy to say the financial stability of Amherst Media remains strong and stable. At the end of the past fiscal year, which ended on June 30th of this year, we had a total of $167,969 in our checking and savings accounts, with current assets of $514,107, and total liabilities of $237,196, with a total net equity of $276,910. We currently have a balance in our capital account of approximately $131,995. That is an account we can use to buy more equipment, to upgrade, that sort of thing. In fiscal year 2017, we had a deficit, unfortunately, of $11,942. This was primarily as a result of higher rent and higher utility burden from Eversource, property taxes that we were paying until we break ground on the new property, and interest on the loan that we still hold on the property. Bright spots over the past year: Comcast revenues remained steady with an approximate 3.99% increase over the last fiscal year. And combined with other revenue sources, this gave us an operating budget of $348,551 for the 2017 fiscal year. Our new fundraising efforts, now this sounds low, but you'll understand in a minute, brought in $6,040 in new revenue, and we were able to raise $14,229 in production services, classes, and workshops. A $25,000 matching grant, thank you Amherst Rotary, came in just after the new fiscal year, which is why it's not included with the $6,040. With that, since our fiscal year 2016, we've been able to bring our loan for the land down from a balance of $220,000 to its present balance of $148,000. We continue our fundraising with the goal of having the loan paid off by this spring so we can break ground on our new home. Just a reminder, the Amherst Rotary will be holding their next auction here on November 17th and 18th. You're all welcome to come down and join us. If you've never seen it in person, it's really something to see. It's a good time. There's good food, good people, a lot of good energy, and we hope you'll participate and bid on items donated by local businesses. Any questions about the budget? Thank you. Thank you all.
So we have two candidates. I'm Demetria Shabazz. I was up here earlier, Vice President Board. We have two candidates that are running for the two board positions for the Board of Directors. One is Patrice Wilson, and the other is Ed Severance. Ed has already told you a bit about himself, but we'll have both Patrice up here to talk a bit about herself and her experience, and then Ed as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrice Wilson, or some of you know me as Treese. I first came to Amherst Media a little over 3 years ago. I was actually an intern when I was an undergrad at UMass. Dr. Shabazz was one of my mentors and professors at UMass. And so I've been here for a long time and started out at the bottom and have done a tremendous amount in the community. So many of you I have seen throughout the years in filming and things like that. Mrs. Story, I don't know you, but I have filmed you so many times that these faces just become familiar to me, and so and voices that I'm used to hearing as I've helped edit and things like that. Done a tremendous amount in the studio and making some of my own videos, and had a show for a little while as well 3 years ago. I finished up, I went through grad school, and I actually just finished my master's degree in public relations and with a focus of nonprofit management and fundraising. And I also act as an independent consultant in fundraising and nonprofit, and I also do coaching, professional coaching for a lot of people. My husband and I've lived in the area for almost 30 years, which is really hard to believe because I am only 32 years old. I know. It's really hard to believe. I don't know. But I'm married, and I've been living in the area with my husband for 28 years. My husband's family has actually been in this area for a little over 200 years, so he's solid here. But you may hear a little twang in my voice. I am a native of South Carolina, and I have been brought here by a Yankee. And that was when we got married in Atlanta. That was the whole thing, was my husband was a Yankee, and he was, he was out of his depths. And it was like I was kidnapped. My family felt I was kidnapped and brought up here. So I periodically go back down south to show that I'm still alive and I'm functioning and enjoying the North here. So probably the most exciting thing that has happened in 2 weeks ago, my husband and I have one child, and she and her husband just had their first baby. So I have my first grandchild. Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very, and even more exciting is they live a whole 2 houses away, so I get to watch them grow up. So, but I love Amherst Media, and I appreciate the voice that it gives to the community and the creativity that it allows all ages. I think that's what I love. Is I worked with these interns who literally were old enough to be my kids, but they never made me feel like I was out of age range. And I always felt like I was a part of the group and could be creative on many different levels. And I love Amherst Media. I respect it, and I appreciate what it does for the community. So I look forward to many happy years of working in numerous capacities within Amherst Media, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Tell us something we don't know about you.
I was born in a one-room shack in Florida. My mother was the youngest of 18 kids. My father's father died when he was 6 years old, and he supported his family his whole life. Did you know that? Anyway, Teresa, I'm looking forward to working with you. You're a real high-energy person. I've been with Amherst Media going on 10 years now. I came in to the board 10 years ago and asked Jim if he was interested in doing an auction. And he said, yeah, that's really exciting. The board's really excited. And as I walked out the door, I hear him go, can we do live shots? So it's been a ride since then. And I got to say, the person who got me involved with the board was Isaac Ben Ezra. He saw something in me, and he begged me to run, and I did. And I thank him for that, because I've been involved ever since. I was on the board for 5 years. And in that time, I was scribe or clerk, and then I became treasurer for 3 or 4 years. For personal reasons, I left for 2 years. And I came back in 3 years ago. I left, but I'm still here because I do the auction here every year. But I came back, and I met the board 3 years ago. I was very impressed with the new board. A lot of the people I'd worked with before had left. I saw a newborn vigor in the board, and I knew we needed a building, and I thought I could participate and make that happen. So I decided 3 years ago to come back, and I think I've been pretty integral in getting the building moving. I helped with the negotiations this year for the contract. I helped work with Rotary to get the matching loan to get $50,000 to the bank this year. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a hard worker, and I try to get along with everybody. So I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Yeah, so without objection, since we have 2 positions, we have 2 candidates. Without objection, I will declare our candidates elected by acclamation. Thank you very much.
Congrats to the 2 candidates. Good to be working with you all, and glad there's your participation and support here with the board. So I'm supposed to do the closing remarks. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has come to support us, and those folks who have sent in their ballots and have worked with us over this past year. Thank you all for your support. We're here, of course, because we serve the community, and you make it worthwhile. So thanks again. I want to let you all know about an event that we have planned, really exciting event, November 4th. It's going to be on our new, our future home. And, we're going to have some refreshments out there. We're going to have some entertainment. It's from 1 to 3. And we're hoping that it'll continue to be this kind of warm summer weather going into the rest of the fall for November 4th. But if not, we have some hot cider planned, so it'll warm you up. That's November 4th. It will be on Gray and Main Street. And we can envision this building together. It's kicking off our capital campaign. We will have to raise some funds. Thank you, Ed, for the report. We're in good standing, but to get this building, the state-of-the-art building, the structure built, we're going to need to raise some money. And that's what we're going to need in terms of your support, talking about the capital campaign, talking about all what we do in the community. That's, you're our cheerleaders. You're our cheerleaders. And so we're going to start that off. Bring your friends and family November 4th from 1 to 3. And we'll have some music, I hear, as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Cats meow. That's right. Right. So I think that's it for the evening. And I really appreciate again you being here.